better for the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. They locked down their future in Patty Mahomes.
You got Jones, then Kelsey, and Mahomes signed for like half a billion. You got players on your football team buying baseball team.
I'm surrounded by baby toys. Like Patrick Mahomes is surrounded by guys who on offense are some of the best in the league.
Oh no, let the defense go. Let the defense go.
If Patty does what he does, and he has one less guy on offense.
And Kansas City, I thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another SportsMe Weekly Windup, where we go over all the latest, greatest, hottest topics and debates, advice-giving sessions, so on and so forth, throughout the SportsMe app. As always, I'm your host, Rumboys Robbie, and joined by my co-host, Derek. Derek, what's going on?
Not much. How y'all doing this afternoon? It's a wonderful Wednesday here, so very excited to be here, and this one's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this one's going to be a lot of fun, and we also have a lot of new to introduce on today's show, a lot of new updates to bring to you guys, and even some big faces as well. So super excited to dive right into the show. Guys, remember, link to the app is in the description section. All you got to do while you're viewing us here on YouTube, you can just go in the description section, hit that down arrow. You can download the app right away. Also, hit the like button on this content and subscribe to the channel. The way that you know that you'll subscribe, the word subscribe will turn gray and it'll have an ED at the end. All right. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that and download the SportsMe app. Ready to get in our first topic, bro?
Let's do it. This one's a great one. I love the fact that NBA just tipped off last night, and perfect segue straight into the NBA season. Absolutely on this one.
Hell yeah. And this one is brought to you guys by a personality you may have heard debate before on national broadcast television. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even going to say his name. I'm going to just let you guys see and just have the shock and awe of like, oh, he's on the app and I can make content with him. Let's go.
I got to ask you guys something. Maybe the best answer to winner we may bring on the radio. Who knows? We may put you on a tube. Let's see. Is Chris Paul top 5 all time? Win, lose, or draw this championship, do you put him in your top 5 all time? Is he disrespected? Do we not put enough respect on Chris's name? Or is he kind of, pumped up a little too high? Some people got him in the top 5. Some people don't. Where do you stand on Chris Paul? You in? Or you out?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what Chris Paul does. He's probably my number 5 right now. Obviously, he could move up if he kills at the last few years of his career, or he can move down if some young buck comes up and takes his place, but it doesn't matter. He's done enough already. He's in my 5 spot.
What up, Ryan Panks Picks here. Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard of all time. He's my favorite point guard of all time. Plays like a true point guard, puts his team, elevates them. He's great all around. And just to say that, we're deciding his career based on this one championship, that's messed up, man. He's the only player I've ever heard of getting bogarted on a trade. And to top it off, he's 36. And he's playing at a fucking superstar level, right? Like, how many superstars do that? How many players are doing that at 36?
Well, Magic and John Stockton are above him. Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas are above him, so that's at least 4. So you put him in the mix with Walt Frazier, Bob Cousy, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Oscar Robinson. If you count Allen Iverson, but I probably wouldn't put AI up there, even though he's a personal favorite. So I personally wouldn't, but it's muddy at 5.
All right. Steph doesn't make his teammates better. Challenge accepted. Let's go to the tape. All right. Here's the NBA Finals, Cavs versus Warriors. Kevin Durant with the ball. Same Kevin Durant that people think is the best scorer of all time and maybe the best player in the NBA today. Look at him taking the ball up the court. Oh, let's pause for a second. Look where Steph Curry is. Oh, look at that. LeBron would rather defend Steph Curry than stop Durant from dunking. Look at this. Oh, there it happens again.
It's really hard to put Chris Paul in the top 5 because there's so many great point guards. Top 3 to 4 are always a lock for me, at least. In no particular order, it goes Oscar Robinson, Magic Johnson, John Stockton, and Isaiah Thomas. So are you going to leave off the names of like a Steph Curry, and Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, so on and so on? So that's where it gets tricky with Chris Paul being top 5, because Chris Paul doesn't have the MVPs, all the championships like some of these guys do. Definitely help if he wins the title this year. But no, I would not put Chris Paul as a top 5 point guard of all time.
So yeah, I agree. It starts to get muddy around the 5 spot, and then it just depends on what you look at, what you value, all that sort of stuff. Chris Paul's an incredible defender. Advanced stats are off the charts. He's a good player, but you can make an argument for any of those guys. What you can't argue for, however, Mikey, is not putting Steph Curry above Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton, and Oscar Robertson. Steph Curry has more MVPs than all those boys combined. Come on, bro.
So I really, really like this topic. And one of the things that I love, one, the ability that Hollins was willing to say, hey, whoever has the best take. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this topic does come from last year's finals. He was willing to say, whoever has the best, maybe we put you on TV, maybe we put you on, the radio or whatever the case, and you film that take right from InStU. You guys can film SportsMe takes anywhere and everywhere. Also, with that being said and being stated, Derek pulling up film to kind of explain Steph Curry and how he does actually help his teammates. I think is a great utilization of the sports map. But I mean, outside of that, an amazing battle. Where would you rank Chris Paul?
For me, he's right there on the cuffs, but I don't know that I'm going to put him fully in the top 5 there. But it's close. It really is close, right? Like you got Magic, he's in there. I think he's probably going to be that 5-6 somewhere right in there for me when it's all said and done. A lot of folks want to knock players because they didn't necessarily win a championship, things like that. But it's a team sport. So championships are derived from the team. And as a point guard, right, like that's your job to make everybody better, things like that. So yeah. It could definitely come into play that, you can maybe knock him a little bit for that. But as far as like MVPs, things like that go, especially, they brought up some of those things like Oscar Robinson, some of these older point guards that didn't have it. Well, if you go back and look at MVP voting for the NBA, it was big men that won that award up until really about the 90s. For the majority of the time, that award has gone to a power forward and a center type of player, simply because that's how the game was played, and the game was that was who was really putting up the stats that were mattered and being kept track of back there. So I skewed some of those things as far as some of those other guys, those older players, maybe not necessarily getting the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah, what I love, no one brought up, Jason Kidd or John Stockton, Walt Frazier or Steve Nash. To say that you definitely have to group Chris Paul in top 10 conversation. Top 5, it gets real murky there. I think recency bias enables us to maybe forget many of the greats. We see this in sports all the time. We're just excited for banners and records to fall. I could maybe go Chris Paul at 6. I could go Chris Paul at 6. Top 5 is tough just because of how many greats there were. When I think about the Stocktons, the Nashes, the Thomases, and so on and so forth, like it's difficult. It's difficult. Let's go ahead and or what were we about to say?
I was just say, another one that's a guy whose career kind of got cut short there, things like that, but was definitely a rising superstar playing the point guard position. Kind of in the early 90s, a decade right before there, is if you had to pick one in their prime to build a team around, who are you going to do? Penny Hardaway, Chris Paul?
I'd go Chris Paul. But if like injuries and things never plagued Penny's career, you'd be definitely having a conversation about Penny.
Right. Like, it's kind of a similar thing with T-Mac out there, Tracy McGrady, another one of those guys that had injuries, kind of cut him short there, things like that, but was definitely trending that way. And so that's one of those that, that's again, part of the reason that I love the SportsMe app is the fact that you can get in there and you can ask some of those questions like that with folks and get some honest takes and get some back and forth through there and get some dialogue going. And you can, get a take that you didn't even necessarily think of. Through that.
Absolutely. It's a great way for everyone to share their knowledge, share differentiating opinions, and occasionally, sometimes, learn some stats and learn some facts. Let's go ahead. We're going to dive off into a brand new feature, a brand new contest, actually, not a feature, but a brand new contest that we have over on the SportsMe app. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing SportsMe cash games. Okay, for many of you out there, you may play DFS cash games or GPPs or stuff like that. This is our version kind of DFS, but instead we're calling it daily cash games, where you guys and your takes are your entry. So you don't have to come up with monetary value in order to get a buy-in. Your buy-in is your take, is your opinion. You can respond as many times as you want, engage as many times as you want. The winner of the topic is chosen by a panel of 3 judges. We have a new panel of judges every single week. And this topic puts Manning versus Manning in a Super Bowl showdown, hypothetically. Let's see what everyone has to say. Oh, is it?
Topics. Today's topic, in a Super Bowl showdown, we would love to know here at the SportsMe app, who wins? The 2007 Peyton Manning-led Colts or the 2008 Eli Manning-led New York Giants? Inquiring minds want to know. Go ahead and drop your take and let's debate. Have fun, y'all.
Am I even eligible? No. But if I am, and I don't know if I am, this isn't even a question. One of them beat the greatest American athlete of all time twice in the championship. The other one did not. And so the person who did that is the person who I'm picking. And you might think it's the other guy, unquestionably, but it's not. His little brother is more clutch than he ever was.
Jeff, I hear you, man, but I'm taking Big Brother on this one. I'm not taking Eli. I'm taking Peyton, especially because one of my boys is Super Bowl too. Shout out Denver. That Super Bowl parade was lit. And if you take away the helmet catch, he only did it once. That was the craziest shit I'd ever seen. Give me Peyton in 07 over Eli in 08. And I don't know what old daily cash games is, but this is a good take. I like this.
I'm going to go with the Colts because I think Peyton Manning was better than Eli in his prime. And I feel like both those years were prime years for both quarterbacks. I think Peyton Manning was the better guy under center than Eli, even though Eli did have some great seasons. It's funny, both these guys are like in the era of quarterbacks that weren't very mobile. They aren't very mobile. I go with Peyton because of the arm. But today, quarterbacks like that don't exist.
I'm going Peyton and the Colts over the Giants and Eli. But it's not going to be as easy as I think it might sound. Yes, Peyton taught Eli just about almost everything he knows how he was going to quarterback and run that game from the offensive side. But that Giants defense was terrifying. I mean, I don't think Ed James would have a solid opportunity to run on that game. But I think the difference would be Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Peyton's ability to kind of find those guys and fit those seams.
More than SportsMe is a good question. Statistically, they're both pretty even across the board record-wise. I mean, I like the offensive pieces a lot better on the 07 Colts than I do the 08 Giants. And when it comes down to it, man, the game's on the line. Peyton over Eli, Dungy over Coughlin.
I'm going with the 08 Giants. 08 Giants were built around that defense. The defense was able to shut down one of the best offenses ever to play the history of football. So they will have no problem against the 07 Colts. So the 08 Giants would have won the Super Bowl against the 07 Colts. Because if they could beat one of the best offenses ever that we ever seen in the history of the game He will have no problem against those 07 Colts.
I'm going Peyton Manning and the Colts by 40. They would crush that Giants team. The Giants team barely got into the playoffs that year. Eli Manning, the most overrated athlete in the history of American sports, has no business in the Hall of Fame, has no business in any conversations for accolades. He got to the league on his last name alone. He was never that good. He made 2 good throws in his entire career, got 2 rings because of his defense. Colts all the way here. Peyton.
Hey, Davis, I'm going with the Giants. They beat what would have went down as the greatest team of all time. Defense was clutch, shut them down. And let's not remember, the Colts team that won only made it to the Super Bowl because Jabbar Gaffney dropped a wide open pass that would have sealed the deal for New England in that AFC title game. So I'm going with Eli, undefeated in Super Bowls, the most disrespected quarterback of all time. It's crazy.
As much as I would like to say that Eli could probably beat his brother in a Super Bowl, I don't know. I'm looking at this roster for the Colts 2007. That defense from Robert Mathis to Dwight Freeney to Bob Sanders, Kelvin Hayden, Antoine Bethea, like pretty solid defense right there. Gary Brackett at linebacker. I don't know. I got to go Peyton on this one. I just think I got to go Peyton.
What's going on? Coach Craig here, and this is a very, very interesting discussion. But before I get started, just want to talk about whoever's saying Edgerrin James. He wasn't even on the Colts at this point in time. It was Joseph Adai. So, very interesting matchup overall. If Bob Sanders is healthy, Colts win this game. No question about it. But the year they won the Super Bowl, Bob Sanders only played 4 games. Next year, he was the Defensive Player of the Year. So, Bob Sanders, difference maker in the game. And then Adam Vinatieri kicking those field goals. He could be another difference maker as well.
I don't know who did it, but someone mentioned the defense from the 07 Colts. I mean, did we forget the Patriots have Vince Wilfork, Teddy Brucci, Rodney Harris, Asante Samuel, Ellis Hobbs, and Mike Ripple, acting like the Colts defense is one of the all-time greats or something. Did we forget the offense the Patriots had? Moss, Welker, Kevin Falk, Troy Brown, Ben Watson, Tom Brady. Not to mention Tom Brady's better than Peyton Manning.
I'm just going to put it out there because I get brought up. I was 8 and 9 years old when both of these teams were playing. I don't really know too much about the 07 Colts, but I know a lot about the 08 Giants because I watched them ultimately beat the 18-0 Patriots. And everybody's brought up how, their defense was incredible, which I completely agree, because they took down the greatest offense maybe in NFL history. But they're forgetting how good that Giants offense was too. I'm ultimately going to say the Giants.
All right, man. So for me, both defenses were really good. I can't see Eli being able to do much against that Colts defense with the pass rush. And then on the other side of the ball, the Giants get to Peyton, then he's going to struggle as well. But for me, it comes down to Peyton. As a big brother myself, there's no way in hell I'm letting my little brother beat me, especially on a big stage like that. So big brothers all the way, not letting little brother win whatsoever.
What's up, Robbie, Jeff, everybody? This is a pretty interesting question. Actually, I had to take a couple minutes to think about it, but while I wanted to side with Jeff and go with Eli and the Giants, I really, really feel like I've got to stick with Peyton here. He's the better quarterback at that time. No disrespect to Eli, but those were some fluky wins, but I'm taking Peyton. Peace, guys.
Yeah, I don't really think it comes down to quarterbacks here. I know it's kind of about Manning versus Manning, but at the end of the day, it really has to do with the Giants' defense. And I think that's the determining factor in it. That's why I'm giving it to New York. The Giants' defense, when they were at their best, was an unstoppable force that created all hell for quarterbacks. Obviously, we saw that in the Super Bowl that year. So I have to go Giants just because of their defense.
I think Iggy hit the nail on the head best. I was very young when these two teams were a thing. I am completely giving you the most biased answer I can when I say the Colts. Because I'm basing this answer completely off of who I thought was the better quarterback. And it's definitely got to be Peyton Manning. I feel like 08 was one of his prime years. Man, was he good.
It's the Colts from in this one. The Giants were ranked 17th in points allowed to opposing offenses during that season. They happened to be on a hot streak in which they rode the playoffs and didn't allow more than 20 points. However, this game being played in a vacuum like it would have to be negates the hot streak. That's Colts offense, though, was battle tested throughout the season. We saw them beat the Ravens, the Pats, and the Bears, who were ranked 1, 2, 3 in points allowed to opposing offenses. Could be argued that that Bears team that Peyton beat had a better defense than that Giants team that won the Super Bowl with the.
Alrighty. So you guys can check out that full battle, that full debate on the SportsMe app. You guys download the SportsMe app. Link is in the description again. Join the conversation over there. Derek, you actually won our very first daily cash game. That segment coming from our daily cash game series. You guys can check it out daily, beginning at 12 Eastern. And we always announce a new winner every day, the very next day at 12 Eastern, noon Eastern. But your thoughts on the Manning versus Manning thing. I know you have given us some stats there, and that ultimately contributed into you winning was bringing the stats and doing the research. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, so I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, right? Like everybody in that battle, you saw it, kind of bringing it back to the fourth, that the Giants were this all-time juggernaut defense type of thing. Is how that felt, kind of pulling through that and watching some of that. And, we needed to keep in mind that Giants defense was a defense that was ranked middle of the pack during that season. So you take the cumulative body of work. They're middle of the pack type of defense, and they're being spoken of in the same kind of light as like the 85 Bears type of thing. Like that's how it kind of came across to me, that they were this vaunted defense. When looking at it, they were a middle of the pack type of deal. When going further into it, right? Like while they did some really good things, they, in sports, there's a lot that comes down to getting on a hot streak, playing, clicking at the right time, all of this coach speak and cliches that we always hear any given Sunday type of thing. That Giants defense through that playoff run embodied that type of spirit where it's, any given Sunday. And when you get hot, and you can do things that otherwise you couldn't have done over the previous 16 games body of work that you did. But the Colts in particular had a similar hot streak going into their Super Bowl that often gets overlooked. Not only that, the Colts faced the number 1, number 2, and number 3 defenses in points allowed going into that Super Bowl, where they beat a Ravens team who through the regular season allowed less than 13 points to opposing teams on average. Then they went in and they had a huge comeback win, where they were down 21-3 at halftime to beat a Tom Brady-led New England Patriots team.
Yep.
And I believe that game was in Foxborough. And then went into the Super Bowl and played a Bears defense that was actually probably better than the Giants defense that Manning won with, and or that Eli won with the following year. That Bears defense was probably a better defense overall, top to bottom, built through it. Multiple Pro Bowlers, multiple first team All Pros on that, whereas that Giants team only had one Pro Bowler that whole season. So for me, it when you really started diving into this thing, it made a lot more sense that the Colts would win that one, especially when you're doing something like this. The game's going to ultimately be played in a vacuum type of thing. So you take out the hot streaks, you take out those types of things, and then you just look in, player versus player, matchup versus matchup, and running through that. I think that Colts team was probably a better overall top to bottom team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Colts were definitely a better team. The receivers that they had, Ajayi, and it wasn't. I can never say the die.
Joseph Ajayi.
Yeah, die. In the backfield. That was an amazing offensive line. Jeff Saturday was on that line. Like Dallas Clark was even a thing,
Mm-hmm.
The Colts were in Eli or Peyton is just so much more smarter than Eli. Again, someone I mentioned in that battle, I'm never going to let my in a million years let my little brother beat me.
Yeah, the beard steak was awesome on that one.
Yeah, the beard. Yeah, it was our homie Daniel from down under. And I gotta agree with him. I think that those little narratives, those headlines that get painted, kind of have something to do with that as well. and it's just you take away the helmet catch. I mean, like there's some luck and some flukes and some things that led to that. And I do get that yes, Eli beat Tom Brady twice, but that is not the defining argument. I feel he also lost to a lot of other quarterbacks, not
Right, he
named
was
Tom
about
Brady,
a
that were
500 quarterback,
yeah,
right? And won
exactly.
almost. And again, right, like win-loss shouldn't necessarily be a quarterback stat, but if we're going to speak of it to the standpoint that he went out and beat Tom Brady and beat those Patriots type of thing, well, at that point, then you've got to factor in overall record, and you're a 500 quarterback, right? Like, and some of those teams that Eli played on, especially towards the back half of his career, were really just not very good. But you want to see some further things on how that brother dynamic played out there. We got a really good look at how those two interact with each other and how that comes through. And when they did the Manning cast on these Monday night games earlier this season, Eli. There was times Eli couldn't get a word in edgewise over Peyton, and that's kind of how. To me, that's kind of how that dynamic of that relationship kind of works, to the point where,
Eli couldn't even identify who the mic was. And Ray had to be like, I'm not the mic. Come on. I'm granted that was one of his first games, but still.
Right.
Let's go ahead. Let's keep it moving. Let's see. So far today, guys, we talked Chris Paul being a top 5 point guard of all time. And we went through our very first daily cash game with Manning versus Manning, the 07 Colts versus the 08 Giants. Next up here looks like what we got here.
I think we stick with the NFL here.
Yeah, let's
right.
stick.
Like, just keep that rolling there. We've got some of that stuff going. This was actually a topic that you brought up on the SportsMe, and I really liked this one when we were going through it. But since you introduced it, I'll let you introduce this one here as well. So if you want to bring us into setting the stage for this one.
Yeah. With this topic, we decided to have a beautiful marriage between music and sports. Check it out.
Athletes. I don't know a whole lot about everyone's musical taste here, so here's what I want to do. Give me your dream Super Bowl matchup, the two teams that make it, and build a halftime show roster with 3 artists.
My matchup probably be the Houston Texans, since I am a Texans fan, and Los Angeles Rams, since Marshall Faulk was my favorite player growing up. As far as performers go, musicians, I'm kind of a small town boy, so country music and George Strait the King, Garth Brooks, and then for the sleeper pick, we're going to go Michael Jackson, just because it would have been awesome to see him perform at the Super Bowl.
I've been very, very disappointed at a lot of the halftime shows that have gone down recently. It's also like new age. Like me, I'm an old school guy when it comes to music. I would love to see like Kenny Chesney or Luke Bryant or or Kid Rock.
None of those are old
Kid Rock
school.
did.
Right.
Never watch, but honestly, or Luke Combs, that'd be fun. Long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart.
Let's bring back my Dallas Cowboys and Buffalo Bills for the Super Bowl. Dallas winning, of course. Rematch from the 90s. Instead of Aikman being the MVP, Dak Prescott. For the halftime show, since we're going back to the 90s, when Jerry Garcia was still alive, let's do some Grateful Dead. We can then take Trey Anastasio from Fish, have him up there play some guitar, and John Mayer, because he rips, he shreds.
Hey, Robbie, the Joey Wright. So my matchup would be the Bills and Bucks. I have a lot of friends and family that are Bills fans, and I'm a Bucks fan. And you know what? Let's let the Bills win one. I don't want to be greedy. My Bucks have 2 in the last, 20 years. So that'd be nice to see the Bills get one. But my musicians, I was actually asked this on Faces of Fantasy. Prince, Otis Redding, David Bowie, 3 musicians I never got to see live.
Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit different, and I'm going to go with any era, past or now. And I'm going to say my Packers when Brett Favre was in his prime against a Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs. And that would be fireworks. And my musical acts would be Pantera in their prime, Killswitch Engage with Howard Jones at the front, and for shits and giggles of a fucking hilarious band, it's Steel Panther.
Give me Chargers, Niners rematch. Need my Chargers to win this one. And as far as halftime show, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, and Slum Village. But we would need to extend that halftime show like 4 hours.
Obviously, Cowboys, and they're going to be facing the Baltimore Ravens, where my large adult son, Lamar Jackson, is fucking killing it as always. Tom Petty would have been such a good answer if that motherfucker was still alive. I got to see him before he passed. He was amazing. But I'm going to say, since you said 3 artists, I'm going to put together a rockin' ass band. There's already done one song together, but we got Dave Grohl on drums, Trent Reznor on guitar, and Josh Homme on bass and vocals.
Oh, Robbie, I'm glad that you did this because I love this take. Dream Super Bowl matchup would obviously be my Vikings. Probably playing like the Chiefs or the Bills because I still get to watch Patrick Mahomes play, but I get to watch the Vikings win in Dream World. The musicians, this is what I'm into. Ben Rector's got some good hits. Ed Sheeran, John Foreman.
I'm just going to throw out this halftime show. Boy, did they do it well in Los Angeles with West Coast hip hop, the Kings. We have the past in Dr. Dre. We have the kind of not so past with Kendrick Lamar in right now. So it's going to be great. Only if Tupac were still alive to bust some rhymes. And, oh my God, I can't wait.
All right, get this. So Cowboys, Chargers for sure. And then the halftime show, we're getting lit. We're getting smoky. We're going to smoke out the whole stadium. Hopefully it's indoors so we can hotbox that shit. But Snoop, Wiz, Bone Thugs, give me all those guys. Give me some area flair, Andre Nicotina. And blazing that shit up. Even invite Willie Nelson. He's got to be there too.
Dream Super Bowl matchup, I'm going to do something that most people wouldn't probably enjoy. Washington, Cincinnati. Got to put my own team in. Everyone else did it, right? A lot of people bring in artists back from the dead, so I'll bring back Pac, Biggie, and Big Pun. But if I want to go with artists of today, man, we got to get litty. Lil Wayne, Drake, and we'll go with the homie Future. We got to throw Future on that. What y'all think about the turn up?
Yo, what up, Robbie? It's your boy Wolf. So actually, I got to see my dream Super Bowl 2 years ago. I got to see my team, San Francisco 49ers, my dad's team, the Kansas City Chiefs, go at it. So I'd probably just do that one again. Patrick Mahomes, hopefully Trey Lance. A few years, maybe we can do it. But 3 artists, I had to think about it. Who are like my 3 favorite artists of all time? But then I had to think about how would they blend well together. So I had to find people that would blend well. So I'm going to do Elton John, Michael Jackson, Freddie Mercury. Beat that.
Like it. I like it. A lot of the youngins coming in with their takes. Like I when he said Luke Combs, he's like, I'm an old school guy, and it's like, I was like, bruh, you can't
like Kenny Chesney is not old school.
Hey, exactly. It's like, man, look. That's how we know that you're young. That's how you proved that you're young right there. So no, I thought that was a great topic though to kind of fuse in music with some sports talk. Break up the monotony on the app a little bit because sometimes we can get a little overly analytical, or like overly opinionated. So it's dope to kind of just have a nice like smooth conversation and learn a little bit about everyone's music tastes. I don't know how we're gonna revive all of these fucking artists. Like, are we just gonna have zombies on stage? I don't know. We are gonna go ahead and just get right into our last topic for today. This one was yesterday's daily cash game topic. Again, guys, daily cash games. Your take is your buy-in. Download the app. Debate on these topics. Drop as many takes as you want. Just give the most compelling takes, and you could win an opportunity at some cash. Cash values change daily. It could be, you know, a $5 game one day. It could be, you know, a $10, $20 game another day. So, you know, you never know. Got to get on the app, got to download the app in order to compete in our daily cash games. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This is a 1-versus-1 basketball game between AI and Damian Lillard. Dollar bills, y'all.
Today's topic: who would win a one-on-one game, NBA style? Dame Lillard or Allen Iverson? Dame Lillard, Allen Iverson.
Well, Jeff, I know nothing about basketball, so I'm going to go with Alvin Iverson for straight swagger purposes.
Definitely going Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, from a point guard perspective, was the most lethal killer in terms of a scorer, and in one-on-one, that's what it takes. Not only that, a lot of the moves and things that current point guards have learned and developed have been from watching and growing up, watching film on Allen Iverson. So just when you think you've mastered all his moves, all you have is film. He's still creating. So I would absolutely go Allen Iverson.
That's awesome. Appreciate the win there, but let's let it ride. Let's parlay it. Let's roll yesterday into today and make some. Let's just get crazy. Dame Time has some advantages here, right? He's a bigger player. He's a better shooter percentage-wise through his career so far. But Allen Iverson stood out as a scorer and was one of the best scorers in the league. When points came out as a premium, the Cavaliers last year would have led the league in scoring back in 2002 to 2003. A one-on-one game typically gets one on who can get to the hoop more, who can score those easy buckets. AI has the moves, and the answer's clear, isn't it?
The answer to the question is the answer, Allen Iverson. And the greatest, probably 6-foot scorer of all time. And no disrespect to Dame Lillard. If it came down to, like, they were tied at the end of the game and they needed to hit a shot, Dame might get him there. Dame is clutch. Can't deny that anyways. But Dame's not known for his defense. Allen Iverson runs circles around him in his prime. Not even close.
Hey, Jeff, this is a pretty simple one. Allen Iverson. He's a million times better than Dame will ever be. AI is the king, bro.
I'll break the rules and jump in here again. The answer is whoever gets the ball first. Neither of them play defense. So really, the answer is actually whoever gets the ball first. That's who wins.
What's going on, everybody? The Untitled Basketball Podcast. And I love this question. Dame versus Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson got buku moves in his bag, and, you know, you got to respect that. Kids these days still look up to him for all that stuff. However, Dame can shoot, boy. Dame can shoot the lights out. He can shoot better than Allen Iverson, hands down. And he's bigger, taller. I think Dame would take the cake in this competition.
Man, you guys don't make these easy, eh? So, for what AI had to overcome with his size in his career and the way the game was played back then to what it is now, I would put my money on AI winning a one-on-one game against a whole lot of people from this generation, obviously around his size, even though Dame's a lot bigger than what he is. But yeah, give me AI one-on-one. I just think the heart of the line will get him and push him over the line.
Enjoying the take so far, but I think we need some clarification. I know we're talking ones, but what we didn't specify is, are we doing 1s and 2s, or are we doing 2s and 3s? That is a big difference in this matchup, because as we all know, Dame can shoot that 3 ball. And if he's getting 2 for every 1 that AI scores, if he's going in the paint and shooting those layups, that's a huge advantage.
What's up? It's Drop the Mic FF. I love this question, but here we go. AI averaged 27.6 points a game with the Sixers. In his career, Dame is averaging 24.7. I mean, three-pointers are almost the same, except I say Dame shoots it better from long range. But to me, the biggest X factor in this is the ball handling. AI is a better driver and can cross over Dame better than he would AI. So it's AI.
All right. What do you? Well, I mean, you gave us your thoughts.
The answer's clear. The answer's clear.
Yeah, like it's AI like all day. I mean, they like drop the mic, dropping the stats there at the end. I mean, you know, with that, it's like, come on.
So here's some interesting thoughts there as well, right? So the NBA is a much higher scoring league today than it was during Allen Iverson's prime, right? So let's take the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were dead last in points per game scored last season.
Yep.
They averaged 103.8 points per game. That would have dead last year would have been first in points per game scored in 2002 to 2003 season, right? Like just back when Allen Iverson was in his prime.
Yep.
So points became a premium back when Allen Iverson was in his prime and coming up there, and Allen Iverson averaged more points per game. Not only that, you look at some of these other things. I know some of the guys said that they didn't play defense in there.
They played a lot more defense back in the day.
Right. Back when Allen Iverson, that's part of the reason that the points per game on average were lower. But Allen Iverson led the league in steals three separate years coming through there as well. So
true.
yeah, it's one of those that, while they may not necessarily play great defense here and there, all you got to do in a one game is get 2 or 3 turnovers type of thing, make a guy miss a couple of times, things like that. Like, even though Dame might be a better shooter and may have some height advantage,
but let's not act like AI can't shoot. AI can shoot the 3.
I mean, when you look at it, there's 6 percentage points difference surrounding these two over their career in 3-point shooting. That's it. Damian Lillard's a 37% 3-point shooter. Allen Iverson was a 31% 3-point shooter.
Yep,
And 6% is a big difference in there. But when it's contained to a small sample size, it's not going to make as much difference. You might talk about Dame going to hit 1 more 3 than Allen Iverson type of thing over the course of 10 shots type of thing. So
exactly. I mean, it's a win by 2, first to 11. Typical schoolyard rules.
Exactly.
You're going by ones. Like AI all day. Like AI is gonna cross Dame. AI can play defense. Dame does not play defense. They do not play defense in today's NBA. The number one defender in today's NBA would not be able to defend against the talent of the 2000s and the 90s basketball players. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you look to it how the game was played back then. There was a ton of ISO going on in the league back when he was playing. So the isolation, these guys were playing one-on-one type of games in the middle of a NBA on an NBA court with 10 guys on the court. So they were playing a lot of ISO moves. They could make some things happen like that. Today's game is a lot more of pass and move, and there's not as many guys that can create their own shot and create that off the dribble. And that's what Allen Iverson did. So his game, I think, translates a little bit better to a one-on-one type of matchup there. Again, same thing too, right? Like some of the greats, like that's why they are some of the greats, is because their game would translate so well into those one-on-one type of deals. It didn't necessarily need somebody to help them create their own shot.
Well, hell yeah. What's up, Justin? What's up? Oh, go ahead,
man. And Damian Lillard's probably one of the better guys in the NBA right now at being able to create his own shot. But just an interesting thought there.
Yeah, hell yeah. Just I'm like reading. Like we're about to sign off. Also, I think Russ steps up this season. Yeah, I think Westbrook, should be an impactful player for the
He's
Lakers
gonna have to step up.
Yeah. I picked up Watson and dropped Madison in a 1 QB league. Why?
Yeah, I don't understand that move.
Are you like trying to build a roster of jailbirds? Because that's where he's gonna be. I don't get it. I don't know why. Reverse it. Go back. Undo it. Unfuck it. Okay. Like Derek, where can they find you?
You can find me over at the Good Old Boys FF on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast YouTube channel.
Hell yeah. You guys can find me on the Run Boys Fantasy Network, 32-bit articles over on Dr. Roto. And I really think that I said everything. I'm sure I'm probably leaving something else out. But catch us both on the SportsMe app every single day. Don't forget to spike that like and subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. Let's allow our outro to take us away.
Get any better than the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. They locked down their future in Patty Mahomes.
You got Jones, then Kelsey, and Mahomes signed for like $500 million. You got players on your football team buying baseball teams.
I'm surrounded by baby toys. Like Patrick Mahomes is surrounded by guys who on offense are some of the best in the league.
Oh no, let the defense go. Let the defense go.